Welcome to another video, guys. I'm Jonathan, this is Austin, and we're Fandom Fix. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about Pokémon Legends Z-A. So this is by far what Pokemon spent the most time talking about in their presents, and it's what we're going to spend the most time talking about it because it's the most exciting right now. First off, let's talk about the starters. Now, this is causing a lot of controversy. People are upset. Some people are happy. The big thing is there's two Gen 2 starters and a Gen 5 starter. We have Tepig, turns into Emboar from Gen 5, and then we have Chikorita, who turns into Bayleaf in its final evolution from Gen 2, and then Totodile, who turns into Feraligatr from Gen 2 as well. So, in my opinion, they look like good starters. I actually don't know which one I'm going to pick yet. They're all pretty good options, in my opinion. So, what are your thoughts on the starters, Oz?
Yeah, I mean, people always complain about these starters every time a Pokemon games came out. But, you can't please Pokemon fans. You honestly can't please any fans at this point in anything. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Pokemon, Mario, at this point, like, everyone's just like, let's just complain to complain. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, I think it's actually kind of cool that we're going back to some older Pokemon with Generation 2 because, kind of have some of that nostalgia there. When I saw it, I immediately was like, oh, I'm actually going to pick Totodile as my starter, and it's always a game time decision for me. So who knows? I may change that because I've literally chosen a fire Pokemon starter for the past 3 games, like Sword, Scarlet. We were talking about how you chose fire for Arceus. Fire just seems like the go-to. I always feel like fire is just the stronger one, but I don't know. Tepig just seems like a wimp to me. So Totodile probably gonna be the way I go, just because I like crocodiles. I think it's a cool look. But overall, I think it's nice. I mean, it's going to give some variety for people to choose. Do I want something that's a little bit more of a recent generation, or am I going to go to something that reminds me of when I was originally watching the show back when I was a kid? So I think overall, it's a good variety. You really can never. There's really never too much variety when it comes to the starters for the game. They're always grass, fire, water.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you kind of always have those 3 buckets, and so it's just a matter of there's so many Pokemon out there that you're going to choose from. You're never going to please everybody with that, and so it's just you just have to throw a dart at the dartboard and you just see which one you like. And I don't know how the team at Pokemon comes up with that stuff. Obviously they have a reason they're choosing it, and it's probably going to be catered to the story or what's going on there. But overall, I like it. I think they're fun looking Pokemon. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think they were all fine choices. People, like you said, will complain about anything nowadays. So it is what it is. I don't know. I kind of like to go against the grain a little bit. So whoever maybe is the least popular starter, that's who I may choose to go with, because I don't think there's a bad choice in this one. The other thing to think about, and they didn't show this in the trailer, but you can almost guarantee that each of these starters is going to get a mega evolution, which will be really cool. And so that's another thing to think about, is what their final evolution with the mega evolution is going to look like, because that could change up the game. And that could, if we see that before the game comes out, that could really alter some people's opinion on their starter choice. But that's really fun. But we got a lot more in that trailer from Pokemon Legends Z-A. They did not, unfortunately, give us a release date, but they give us a release time of late 2025, late this year, which most people would say November. Pokemon's usually in November, but it could slot in the October or December time as well, I think. But we got some cool stuff right in the middle of Lumio City from X and Y Kalos region. It looks great. I think the art style looks fine. I know people are always worried about that, especially after Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, there's a big uproar about just the graphics. I think so far it looks good. Hard to tell right now. We'll see more later, but I like the way that they might be separating the Pokemon. They mentioned, as they were talking in the video, that the city is trying to be a great environment for both Pokemon and people. And so obviously you can see in there where there's these zones where there's Pokemon, and then obviously there's people outside of the zone. So maybe they did that to help with the graphics and kind of separate the two instead of it being all combined. So I'm curious how that's going to go. What did you think about how the way the game looked and just the original story of what we heard?
Yeah, I mean, we're not even too far off from Scarlet and Violet, and that game is still getting new content. So I mean, I think the art style, they pretty much just stemmed from that in Arceus. I don't think it looks too much different. I think my bigger question is this going to be a Switch 2 game, or is this going to be on both consoles? Is one version going to get better graphics? Because at the end of the day, if they didn't make this for Switch 2, then it's definitely going to just look like Scarlet. in terms of the graphical power, which honestly is going to get a lot of crap from people. Like people are going to complain about that because they hated it on Scarlet, which, you know, I've mentioned in our top 5 video. Like, who cares about what they think, because Scarlet was a fun game. But at the end of the day, like, I think the look is fine. Like Pokemon, like you can't reinvent the wheel. Like people are going to buy these games for the fact that they just want to collect Pokemon in battle. And so, like, obviously you need new mechanics and that kind of thing. But the Lumio City thing is really cool to me. I think there's some variety there, especially with like you were saying, the zones. And I liked how they have like in the game, like it looks like electrical like gate type thing, or like a digital gate, and you walk through them. And there's that's going to obviously play a part with the story and overall probably like preserving Pokemon. And you're probably going to end up having to save the day against some tyrannical, you know, villain that's probably the government that you see in the video game, or the, you know, you see in the trailer. Like you see like those two people who are like the heads, they're probably the bad guys. Like it's pretty predictable for Pokemon.
Yeah,
but
they look like bad guys.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, like I think it looks cool. I mean, I think it's very like French, you know, style. And you know, you and I were talking about already, like, you know, every Pokemon game has like a style for their cities, and it's always kind of related to something in the real world. So like, it's cool to see that. I mean, I'm curious of the play like that they showed kind of is the same like progression that you get in every game, where it's like you always have a best friend depending on male or female, and like 3 starters. And so like it's all very predictable to some extent. But in my opinion, I think the bigger question is like the mechanics with the gameplay here, specifically with the battle and like more of the fluid battle. So what did you think of that? Like how you can kind of like move around in battle, you can like dodge. It's not just like turn-based back and forth. It's more like Arceus setup.
Yeah, I love the variety. Obviously, I haven't played the game. I only saw a few snippets, but it excites me. I mean, I love how they did some different stuff in Arceus. They added some like agile and strong moves, some that go a little bit faster, and some different stuff. And so they kind of use maybe these Legends games to test out some things and try some variety, which I appreciate. So when I first saw it, I was like, whoa, that's different. You know, it could definitely a little bit more engaging. And my first thought is like, man, how is that gonna scale once you get like further in the game? Are the wild Pokemon at a higher level gonna also be better at movement? Not only be stronger, like higher level, stronger moves, but also be more tactile and strategic in their movement. And so I'm very curious how that's gonna work. I think it looks cool. It's obviously more active. Like you're not just picking a move and doing it, but you're gonna be able to move. There's gonna be more timing involved. I was looking at the trailer, and it looked like one of the buttons after you maybe use a move, there might be like a cooldown to it. So you obviously can't just spam moves. So there's going to be a lot to discover. I mean, when we get more info on the game, we'll be able to see exactly how it works and maybe see a full battle live and whatnot. But I'm very excited that they're trying something new. I think it looks more active. It looks fun, super engaging. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of similar to your question, mine was like, okay, like does it depend on like the size of the Pokemon too? So like, you know, if you have like a smaller Pokemon, are they more agile to move out of the way, or like these bigger guys that are like rock based or whatever they are, like, do they have a slower time moving out of the way when you have a smaller one that's trying to get at you? Because like in reality, like when you think about the stats and like Pokemon cards, like that would be how it works.
Yeah, their speed stat would be how quickly they can move. Yeah.
Right. So, well, like, is the game going to do that? I don't know, but like, it's definitely cool to see a different style instead of just like that. Like, you move, I move, you move, I move. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually like how it would be like in the cartoon, where you're just like Pikachu, go, and then like you see the different things happen. So
it's more fluid. Yeah. I really appreciate them stepping out and trying something new. I think that can be really enjoyable, and people are going to be like intrigued by that. And I think it's going to sell really well, just like Arceus did, and kind of people want more of that, and hopefully lead to some good like feedback for Pokemon, so they can implement some of this stuff in the next generation mainline game or whatever. You know, some of this battling may go into that Pokemon Champions game that's solely focused on battling. So very cool stuff. I think the big question is, is it going to be Switch 2 or Switch? My guess is that it's going to be both. I think that it's going to be Switch for sure, and then they may have a Switch 2 version also, because everything's going to be backwards compatible. So, you know, you can play the regular Switch version on Switch 2 with maybe slight adjustments, but they may make a Switch 2 version that has some other special features that the Switch 2 is going to have. Like, we don't really know yet, but I'm not expecting Pokemon to kind of jump ahead of the curve and have something super advanced. So even if it's just a Switch 1 game, I'll play it on my Switch 2. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, but it comes out after the Switch 2 comes out. So, I mean, like, I feel like it would have to be something with the next gen console. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's a weird move to not have it connected to the new one.
Yeah.
I think we'll learn more as the Switch 2 announcement gets closer.
Yeah. We're not too far away from that April 2nd Nintendo Direct, which is going to tell us a lot about the games coming this year. So that'll be interesting. I'm curious to find out what the date's going to be, and I'm curious what you guys think about the Pokemon Presents. What do you think about all the mobile updates? What games are you playing? Any of those? And then the new Legends games, I know everyone's super excited about. So let us know in the comments what you guys thought of the trailer, what you guys are most excited for in those couple of games. And we're looking forward to the more trailers and probably another Pokemon Presents before the end of the year. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for coming to get your fandom fix. Subscribe, like, leave us a comment. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you.